Welcome back to my channel. This is Miller, Maryland. I want to ask you all a question. What did you want to be when you grew up? Did you want to be an engineer, a doctor, a lawyer, a rapper, a content creator, president? Yeah, we're going to be talking about the last one. I'm sure at some point you probably thought about becoming the president of the United States. I definitely did. Perhaps it's because you think being the leader of a nation sounds cool. Perhaps you want to change the world for the better. Or perhaps you would be in the White House, equipped with its own movie theater, pool, bowling alley, you name it, it probably has it. On paper, being president is the coolest job out there, but I'm here to tell you it's not. It's actually probably the worst job you could imagine. In this video, I'm going to be explaining why. And I think a good starting point is prerequisites. Generally speaking, you're going to need a combination of hard work, dedication, know-how, skill, and will in order to be successful early on. This is especially true in regards to education. Most presidents have a strong educational background. 37 of the 45 men who have served went to college, with many going to prestigious institutions like Harvard, Yale, and Columbia. Sure, there are presidents who are alumni of lesser-known colleges, and sure, there are presidents who didn't go to college at all, but your chances will improve significantly if you attend a prestigious and high-ranking school, especially if it's a law school, which you're probably going to need to do. More than half of US presidents were lawyers before becoming politicians, so on top of all the education that you're going to need to get through, chances are you'll be compelled to spend years or decades practicing law, doing some Saul Goodman stuff, you know. You might also need to be in the military at some point, which, by the way, 31 US presidents were, many in addition to their college education. Some have become generals like George Washington, Ulysses Grant, and Dwight D. Eisenhower, whose commands led their victories in elections, yeah. But if you want to be like them, you're going to have to dedicate decades of your life in the military like they did. Then there's political experience. If you want a chance at succeeding as president in the future and being treated seriously, you're going to need to get involved in politics. With how our current system is, your choice is either woke pseudo-progressivism or blatant worship of Trump. If you don't like either party and want to go for an alternative, I'm sorry, but I'm going to stop you right there. I already made a video as to why third-party and independent candidates cannot feasibly become president, so go check that out. And unless you're going to pick between these two, your journey to the presidency and your political career for the most part would end here. But if you do, you're also going to need years of political experience before you can possibly be considered qualified. The good thing is, there are multiple paths you can take. Senator, governor, secretary, and those are just the most common jobs that would-be presidents had. Not to mention vice president, which most would-be presidents were. Lastly, getting elected. Let's speedrun this whole thing. You're going to need to announce and launch your campaign for presidency, first run in the primary of your party, appeal to the people most, win the primary, go against your presidential opponent, maintain a professional and articulate demeanor at all times, especially during debates.
We finally beat Medicare.
Do a whole lot more campaigning, hold rallies, getting official support at your party's national convention, go on famous TV shows, deal with a whole lot of press, face attack heads, win the most votes in the electoral college, and win. Simple, right? I'm pretty sure I've left out a lot of stuff, but who cares? So, congratulations. You are now the President of the United States. You say the oath of office to a crowd of millions, and then you can finally enjoy your job as president. Except, no. There's nothing to enjoy about being president. If most people aren't happy with their 9-to-5 job, what makes you think you're going to be happy at your 24/7 job, where you're going to have the fate of over 300 million people, possibly 8 billion, at the palm of your hands? You won't. You're going to be miserable, and for reasons that go beyond that. For starters, you are immediately met with immense responsibilities that lay on your shoulders. As the president, you are not only expected to make major decisions for your country, you are also expected to be one of the first responders to major crises, all of which will have a direct impact on the American people. From the economy to national security to healthcare to education, etc., pretty much everything that dictates if Americans can sleep peacefully at night or have food on their plate will be impacted by what you do. So if anything goes wrong, the blame will be solely on you. This leads me to my next point. You'll need to maintain the most perfect version of yourself. Remember, as the president, you're the chief citizen, the role model for all US citizens. Any slip-ups would make America look bad. Just ask Joe Biden. A quick search would show you multiple clips of him either not properly functioning or being subject to accidents, and you're sure to find comments about how he's senile, how he's ruining the country like he's ruining basic tasks, stuff like that. And it's not just Joe Biden. In 2014, Barack Obama wore a tan suit to a press conference and the media went crazy over it. They considered it unserious for some reason. George W. Bush? There are whole video compilations of him screwing up the English language, also known as Bushisms, which really puts him into a not-so-great light. Observe.
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
Yeah, not great. And I don't even want to get into Donald Trump, since we'd be here all day. Now, since America's a free country, you bet you can expect some really nasty things said about you. I mean, really nasty. It's inevitable, and you're never safe. And depending on your political party, you can either find yourself being berated on Fox News and labeled an anti-American commie, or find yourself being ridiculed by some popular late-night host like Stephen Colbert over something you do. And it's not going to be a one-time thing. No, these people are going to get on your tail every chance they get. So good luck with that. And this kind of scrutiny applies to Congress too. As the president, you are the chief legislator. In addition to signing and vetoing bills, you also propose legislation and try to get that passed through Congress, as well as trying to fulfill your agenda. The only problem is, doing so is a total nightmare. Seriously, you'd rather be confined to a room and be forced to watch the B&B Liberal Doom at the loudest possible volume on repeat than try to deal with political gridlock. It gets really bad, especially if the opposing party controls Congress. In that case, your proposed legislation can be blocked and your agenda hindered, so don't expect much progress across 4 years. Your alternative is compromise, which involves going back on your agenda and promises to try and appease the opposing side. Presidents often have to do this. The combination of high expectations, political gridlock, and vicious criticism will create massive stress. And it's not like other jobs where you have a time shift. No, the presidency is, like I said, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year. That leaves you with approximately no time to rest. For you, this is as real as a quokka going to Mercury on Friday the 13th. You'd even be lucky if you got any sleep at all, so you can expect to sacrifice your health, well-being, and time with your family for this job. Lastly is the lack of privacy and movement that you get. As the president, you are constantly accompanied by the Secret Service. Anywhere you go, anything you do will be monitored by them. You never get to do anything yourself. And it's not just the Secret Service. You'll be swarmed by tons and tons of journalists trying to ask you questions. Even in the White House, you never get a moment to yourself. On paper, being the President of the United States sounds like a great thing, but unless you're willing to commit decades of your life in politics and be ready to deal with mass opposition, hard-hitting attacks, Stephen Colbert calling you an idiot, and being left with an acute-like arrest, this is not the job for you. Remember, the fate of arguably the most powerful nation on Earth, and possibly the world, lies at your hands. There's just too much at stake to back out or press the brakes. So yeah, thanks for watching. This is Miller Maryland. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you next time.